Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Um, a couple of quick apologies before I go any further. I got a couple of facts wrong last week. I found the correct answers this week, so I thought I'd set the record straight. The first one, I was chatting with Chris Eukin online about the Long Good Friday, and he was on about James Cosmo being a cracking actor, and I said that James Cosmo was in The Long Good Friday. Played a guy called Razors, which is Bob Hoskins' sort of right hand henchman. Completely wrong. I thought it was. I even looked at a picture of him on Google Images, and I still thought it was the same guy. And looked on the IMDb, it is actually a man called P.H. Moriarty who played Razors. James Cosmo had absolutely nothing to do with it, so sincere apologies for that one. And the second one was to do with this movie, which I was showing off last week, Zombie Flesh Eaters. I said that it starred Tisa Farrow, and I thought that Tisa Farrow was actually Mia Farrow under a different name. Completely wrong. Tisa Farrow is actually Mia Farrow's sister. So thanks, Joe Granby, for that one. I got that one wrong as well. The other thing to do with Zombie Flesh Eaters, Dave Lowe, one of my colleagues, who's probably watching now with a lady named Agatha, so good morning you two if you're there. He's got a beautiful steelbook of Zombie Flesh Eaters. If you're there, mate, would you post a picture of it again? I'm pretty sure you've sent it to me before or posted it on the page before, but I can't remember, and I would love to see it. So if you're there, just grab your Zombie Flesh Eaters and stick a post on the page. That'd be brilliant. I'd love to see what that one looks like. Right, what have I been watching briefly this week? Started off with a movie called Volcano. I've been dying to get around to watch this for quite a while. I know Dan Wheeler, one of the another guy that I work with, who's a member of the group. It's one of his all-time favourite movies, and I've said for months and months and months that I would have a look and see what I thought of it. And I finally got around to watching it last week. Stars Tommy Lee Jones. It also stars Anne Heechey, who I remember mostly from the Gus Van Sant remake of Psycho, which starred Vince Vaughn as Norman Bates. And she was excellent in that. She played Marion Crane, but she stars in this. It's just, I mean, the story is very simple. A volcano, or an active volcano, underneath here we go, take two, Los Angeles, and erupts and causes all sorts of chaos. What did I think of it? I enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. It took me back to the golden days of the disaster movies in the 70s. I'm a huge fan of movies like The Towering Inferno, The Poseidon Adventure, The Swarm. I absolutely love The Swarm. They were all Irwin Allen movies, and Irwin Allen was the king of disaster movies in the 1970s. And this took me back to that. It was a very, very similar thing. The special effects were good. The acting was cracking. Don't look into the science too much if you do decide to watch it. I've read a lot of negative reviews on the IMDb and other sites to do with lava can't do this and volcanoes would never do that. Who the hell cares? It's entertaining. It keeps you sort of gripped for an hour and 40 minutes or so. It's just good fun. A really good fun disaster action movie, well worth watching. So I'm glad I came across that one eventually. I'm tempted to check out Dante's Peak, which I think I saw many years ago. That's the Pierce Brosnan one, which I believe is quite similar if I remember right. So I wouldn't mind having another look at that one at some point. But if you get the chance to watch Volcano, it was made about 1997. I'd highly recommend it, and it's a real nostalgia trip if you are a fan of the 1970s disaster movies, which to me was the heyday of that kind of movie. Yeah, it's well worth watching. Have a look if you get the chance. I'm also halfway through a documentary which I'm finding fascinating at the moment. Steve McQueen, The Lost Movie. I'll do a proper little review of that when I've actually finished watching it, but it's all to do with a movie that never actually got made, that he'd wanted to make for a lot of years, to do with motor racing. Everybody knows that Steve McQueen loved anything with a motor, motorbikes, cars, anything like that. And he'd been dying for years to make this film, and it's the story of the film that never actually got made, and it is fascinating. I bought a couple of Blu-rays this week related to that, but I'll talk more about those when I've actually watched it. The other movie I got to watch this week was No Time to Die. Finally, what a high to go out on. It was absolutely brilliant. I mean, it had been held back for nearly 2 years because of the pandemic, and with the enormous build-up, I was a little bit nervous going into it, thinking, my God, I hope it's going to be worth the wait. Every single minute was worth the wait. There wasn't a single minute of wasted screen time. Daniel Craig is absolutely superb. The story is brilliant. Again, I'll do a proper review of this once I've had a read up on the making of and all that sort of thing, because there's bound to be a few things I'd want to talk about. But I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it, and I will be buying it on Blu-ray. I've actually got it on pre-order now when it comes out in December. But if you get the chance, I believe it's streaming pretty much everywhere now. So yeah, it is absolutely worth watching. And I will say one thing, this is not giving anything away because I think pretty much everyone has noticed this. It has enormous, huge nods to On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which is my favourite Bond film. It's Caroline Kay's favourite Bond film. So Caroline, if you're watching this, watch No Time to Die and just revel in all the wonderful references to On Her Majesty's Secret Service, including the soundtrack, which is glorious. Again, I'll talk about this more when I've had a read up on a few of the facts and figures on it. But No Time to Die, highly recommended, 100% recommended. Right, what have I been buying this week? I'll start with this one. Again, I'm writing a review of this as we speak. And I'd also like to do a video on its own on this. The Long Good Friday, I would consider this to be one of the 3 or 4 best British gangster movies ever. The only one I can think of that comes even close to this is Get Carter, the Michael Caine movie from 1971, which I think a lot of people would consider to be the best British gangster movie, but it fights for first place with this one. Bob Hoskins, Helen Mirren, perfectly cast as the gangster's mole. Again, I'll do a review of this when I've there's a making of documentary on this about an hour long, which I'd love to watch, and there's bound to be a few things in there that I want to talk about, so we'll come back to that one. But if you get the chance to get the Arrow Blu-ray, well worth it. Absolutely loads of extras on there, well worth watching, and the print is as crisp and clear as anything I've ever seen. So yeah, well worth watching. I'll come back to that one. The 2 movies that I bought, which were on the back of the McQueen documentary that I'm watching at the moment, are these, and you will understand more when I tell you more about the actual documentary, which I'm going to be doing hopefully next week. First one is Grand Prix, directed by John Frankenheimer, starring James Garner, who most will remember from the Rockford Files in the 1970s. It's nearly 3 hours long. I need to find time to actually get into that one, but again, there's a reason why I bought that one and this one, Le Mans. Apart from it being the very first movie I ever saw at Burton Odeon or in a cinema, I remember my dad taking me to see this. It would have been about 1971, 72, so I'd only been about 9 years old, but it made quite an impression on me, and I haven't seen it since. And I spotted it on Blu-ray and heard it talked about on the Steve McQueen documentary, which I believe is called Steve McQueen, The Lost Movie, or The Lost something. So, but this was bought on the back of that, and I also did an article on the website about my first ever trip to the cinema, which I'll probably stick a link to under the video. But again, I'll do a separate video of this one, and it will be related to the documentary, which I'm now halfway through. This is how I have to watch movies a lot of the time now. I don't seem to have the time, apart from the weekend, to actually watch anything in one go, so I tend to watch sort of half of it one night and half of it about a week later, and that's one of them. So another one I got, and there's a reason for this one as well, Tenebre, Dario Argento. I did an article or a video last week, or was it the week before, on the favourite horror movies, and somebody put a comment, I can't remember his name, otherwise I'd give him a shout out, but I can't remember, it's Dan, I think. Put a comment in, had you not thought of zombie flesh eaters? And he listed a whole 3 or 4 of these Italian horror movies, and I suddenly realised I've seen very few of them. So I thought I'll dip my toe in the water, and I got hold of this one because this seems to be one of the more famous ones alongside Suspiria, Inferno, and obviously zombie flesh eaters. So I'm going to be having a look at that one at some point. The other one, I don't even know where I got this. I was reading about it on some site or other and thought, I've never even heard of this one. Sean Connery, apparently it's a very, very powerful drama, directed by, I believe, Sidney Lumet. Is it? Written by, yeah, Sidney Lumet. It's all to do with Sean Connery playing a hard-bitten copper and a criminal that he's questioning accidentally beats him to death. I can't imagine there's going to be many laughs in this one, but I like the sound of the story, so it's one I've never heard of, so I thought I'll grab hold of that and have a look at that when I get the chance. This is one that was recommended to me by Jason Parry. Finally got it through, The War Horse, again 2.5 hours long. I need to find time to sit down and watch this all in one go. I get the feeling this is one that deserves to be watched in one sitting and not split into 2. But I will be having a look at that one. Not a massive fan of what I would class as animal cruelty, and I believe there are 1 or 2 scenes in here of how horses were treated during the First World War, which I gather are not going to be easy to watch, but I'll give that a go as soon as I get the chance. And another conversation I was having with Chris Eukin last week was to do with Mel Gibson. He went to an event called An Experience with Mel Gibson, which he posted a short video of, and then somebody very kindly, Joe Granby I think, found the full interview on YouTube, which I really need to have a look at. But he was telling me how brilliant Mel Gibson is, and he recommended 2 of his movies. Now these are going to be difficult to watch. Apocalypto, obviously it's an 18 certificate, it's going to be violent, but I've heard there's quite a bit of animal cruelty in this, so I'm not quite sure I'm going to get on with that. But I thought we'll give it a try and see how we go. And the other one I have tried to watch before, I've seen parts of it, but the bits that I've heard about, I get the feeling I'm going to have real trouble with. It's another Mel Gibson film, The Passion of the Christ. He's not in this, he directed it. But it's basically the last 12 hours of the life of Jesus Christ, and to do with the torture, the punishment they put him through just before the crucifixion. Obviously there are crucifixion scenes. I've read reviews on the IMDb and various other sites that say that watching this movie has changed lives. It is not an easy watch. It is one of the most brutal, violent movies probably that's ever been made. So I'm not sure how I'm going to get on with this, but I'm determined to make it through it, so I will give it a go. But there is a version on here, let me just get this right. There's the original theatrical version and a version edited for graphic depictions, which basically means that a lot of the violence has been edited, making it suitable for a younger audience. So we can have a vote on this if you like. Should I go for the coward's way out and go for the version, to get this right, the version edited for graphic depictions, or should I absolutely traumatise myself completely and watch the unedited, uncut, brutal, violent, gory version, which is probably the one that I should watch, but I'm very nervous of it. Stick your answers in the comments below, which one you think I should actually go for, and whichever one gets the most votes, I'll God help me, I'll go for it and I'll give it a try. So, but I'm looking forward to watching it. I'm just not looking forward to the sheer brutality that I've heard about. But we'll see how I go with that one. And the other is a book. Now, I got this second hand off Amazon. I love books like this. Look at the size of this thing. Movies that matter. Halliwell, size of that. I mean, it's just a list of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of movies. Again, I love books like this that I can just dip into. This is one that I could keep right next to me, so that if I've not heard of a movie, I can just flick straight through it and say, "Oh yeah, 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 I know that one. I'll try and get that." So I think this cost me about £3, something like that. I mean, you can't go wrong at prices like that. I love new books, but I mean, second-hand books do not bother me at all, and especially with something like this. I think the original price of it was something like £20, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with this. So I'm looking forward to having it. I've already had a flick through it and noticed titles that I've never even heard of, and obviously just seeing them and reading the little reviews underneath them has sort of piqued my interest in actually seeing them. So looking forward to. I'll keep that one by the side of me. Right, that's it for this week, folks. I'm not sure whether I'm going to get a chance to do a video next week, not a full one. Reason being, I've got to work on Sunday, so I'll try to do one on Saturday, but I absolutely won't have time to do one on Sunday because I'll be working 6 till sort of 2. So if you don't see me next week, you will definitely see me the week after. That's pretty much it. So enjoy the rest of your day, folks. If you've enjoyed the video, just give me a thumbs up and also subscribe. That would be amazing. And any comments that you've got, either drop them on the YouTube channel or drop them on the Facebook page underneath. Always nice to hear your feedback on these things. So right, have a great Sunday, folks. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. What's left of it? Is it me or is it getting colder? I've not put the heating on yet, but I tell you what, I'm getting very, very close to it. So, like I say, have a great weekend, folks, and I will talk to you all again very, very soon. Thanks for joining me. Take care. Ta-da.